I suppose in Los Angeles 1984, walking butt naked was just the norm. God damn, those are what I call buns of steel. Holy. So, ever since I started to review movies from the 1980s, I've had a few requests from some of my subscribers who have said, are you going to review this particular movie? And I'm like, I had no choice. I think I was literally being held ransom. All his hair's coming down my face. So, without further ado, let us go back to 1984 and James Cameron's The Terminator. Now, before I kick off this review, I just got to pause for thought and say, this film is almost 37 years old, give or take a few months. It's going to be 37 this year. It's insane to think this film cost $6 million to make, and then it accrued $38 million at the box office. And you got to take into account the low budget is kind of responsible for how fantastic it is in execution of its story, its pacing, its action. And when you see the sequel, which was like $102 million, yeah, sure, they gave it a few upgrades here and there, fleshed out the story a bit more. But you know what? I think the action in this film is just a little bit better than T2. T2 has some amazing stuff in it, granted, but wow, I think when you watch this movie, it is something else. So, if you've never seen The Terminator, what have you been doing all this time? And I know the younger generation who are probably watching this video thinking, what's The Terminator? Isn't that like some PG-13 fare? No, it is not. Trust me, it is not. So the basic premise is you have two assassins that are sent from the future of 2029 to Los Angeles 1984, one of whom is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays the title role, or better known as the Cyberdyne Systems T101 model. And he's pursued by Kyle Reese, played by Michael Biehn, a search and tech recon guy. And he's out to stop him from killing Sarah Connor, who is played by Linda Hamilton. Now, if Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator fails to kill Sarah Connor, she will give birth to John Connor, the future leader of the Resistance and the guy to stop the rise of the machines. Well, I guess it was too late in that case. Michael Biehn, this guy should have been a bigger star. And yes, he came in a few great action films. Aliens, Tombstone, where he was Johnny Ringo. And then kind of reprised that role later on in The Mandalorian Season 2. Such a shame. But he is terrific in this. And yes, we get his gratuitous butt shot as well. Now, what can I say about The Terminator that hasn't been said in many reviews already? As a film fan, when I watched this as a kid, it was basically getting a VHS copy of it illegally back in those days. You just go to the shop and they'll just hand it to you over the counter. I remember my mum walked in and it was the scene where Kyle has a bloody face and he's dead, and she was just like, oh, she just kind of ran out of the room. Didn't want to question why I am watching an 18 rated movie. There's food for thought and a solid upbringing.
Uzi 9mm.
Oh, your weapons, buddy. Any one of these is ideal for home defense. So, which will it be?
All.
It's early today.
But yeah, I've got to say, Terminator, it is not just a sci-fi movie, it is also a horror movie. We can't forget that aspect. I think T2 forgot it was a horror movie and more of an action sci-fi flick, but there are horror elements within that film, so I'll give it that much. But here, it's just like the constant terrorization of Sarah Connor from this cybernetic organism. It just won't stop.
Just listen and understand that Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with.
Can't be reasoned with.
It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever.
Dead.
Until you are dead.
Still remember the lines. it just works in their favor. The editing is really tight. The music by Brad Fiedel is incredible. Also, when James Cameron was making this movie, he was so poor and he was being fed burgers via his mother, who would send him vouchers on set every day. Also, Gail Ann Hurd is the producer of the film. I believe that was his wife at the time, or would soon become his missus. And I gotta say as well, the chemistry between Michael Biehn and Linda Hamilton is undeniably magnetic. You can see it. I do believe Michael Biehn said in an interview not that long ago that he loved Linda Hamilton or had a crush on her, but it really shows in this film. It's like you can tell there's a real affection between the two. It makes the more touching parts of the film quite somber. And I've got to talk about that love scene as well. Oh yeah, the love scene.
I came across time for you, Sarah. I love you.
Oh,
Always have.
you can't. How can you always love her? You ain't known her for a short space of time, dude. Come on, man. Oh. Nice breasts. And Linda Hamilton's aren't bad either. No. But it is tastefully done for the most part. It's just a little bit corny, but I understand in the grand scheme of things. Look, The Terminator is not War and Peace. It's a sci-fi horror action movie directed by a guy who was going to be the toast of Hollywood. I feel that Cameron made all these fantastic movies like this, Aliens, True Lies, and then sold his artistic soul and gave us Titanic, a film that nobody wanted. And to this day, I have not gone back to watch it. I just refuse to acknowledge that's James Cameron. I know he's after Oscar glory and all that stuff, and by golly, he got it in the end. And for a while, he had the biggest movie of all time with Avatar until Avengers Endgame and put a stop to that. But I've got to give a big shout out to Stan Winston because his special effects are incredible for the most part. So when you see the cybernetic full metal jacket of the Terminator without the skin, and it's just pursuing Linda Hamilton to the very end. All the close-ups of the model look really good. It just evokes the air of menace, but from far away you can tell it's animatronic, and that's no fault of the special effects guys and girls. It was just a movie of that time, and technology hadn't yet really caught up with what we can do now. Now, you remember a while back I reviewed Unhinged with Russell Crowe and Karen Pistorius, and at the end of that movie, there is a scene that is ripped off from the ending of The Terminator. So it seems that with Russell Crowe, he became that kind of unstoppable killing machine in that movie. And the line that Pistorius comes out with at the very end reminded me of this film. And I'm pretty sure that this looked at Terminator and thought, yeah, you know what? We're going to put that in our script because it's going to be an original throwaway line. Didn't work for that, but it worked for Terminator. And Linda Hamilton just earned her place.
Here's your fucking courtesy tap! You're a terminated fucker.
Another thing as well, people never actually fussed about the fact that a woman saved the day in this film. But I got to give some credit to James Cameron here because I think he was probably frustrated at the time that it was just men saving the world, saving the day. But why not have a woman do it? And it kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things because she's going to give birth to the future leader who's going to save us all. Well, so we hoped. But yeah, Terminator, that music by Brad Fiedel is just... it's psychotic. You don't get that same feeling with the sequel, that's for sure. But within this one, and this is the thing, right? This movie cost $6 million to make back in the day. And I think when a director is given a small budget to work on, it will expand their minds and their imagination. They've got little to work with, but they've got more to expand with just to bring that experience to the audience. And this film still does it. It's a time capsule as well. Like, wow. LA, 1984. It is what it is. Dirty, grimy. It's just, I wish I can go back to those times. It's amazing. Whew, I don't know what else to say, but this film is, the action is breathtaking. Like all the scenes are so well cut together. And I've got to say, Terminator, 1984. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to give you my hot dog rating. It's a perfect 5 out of 5 hot dogs. Not squished because they don't deserve to be. Not even by the great Schwarzenegger himself. So thank you very much for watching my review today for this particular classic. I wasn't going to go down this route, but people have been asking me to do it. So here I am. Take it or leave it. And until next time, I'm all out of breath now. See you later. I love how he sizes up the place. Genius. Really cool sunglasses.
I'll be back.